Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big topics using the source material itself. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story of industrial collapse and a potential, high-stakes redemption, Japan's big bet on a revolutionary new solar technology.
But before we get into all the industry stats and economics, let's just start with a simple question. A what if? What if solar panels didn't need huge open fields or specially reinforced roofs? What if they could literally be part of the fabric of our cities? Just keep that idea in your head, because it is right at the heart of everything we're about to talk about.
And here it is, plain and simple. On the left, you've got the problem with traditional solar. These rigid, heavy panels can cause all sorts of issues, even landslides. But on the right, well, that's the potential solution. It's a solar cell so thin and flexible, you can roll it up like a piece of paper. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a completely different way of thinking about energy.
Okay, so to really understand why this new tech is such a massive deal for Japan, we've got to rewind the clock. We need to look at the painful history of how the country went from world leader to basically zero in the first solar race.
Japan was an absolute pioneer here. It all kicked off way back in 1974 with something called the Sunshine Project, a direct response to the oil crisis. And for decades, that early R&D paid off big time. By the year 2000, Japan controlled a mind-blowing 50% of the entire global market. But then, the wheels started to come off. Government policies changed, global competition exploded, and that dominance just completely fell apart.
Seriously, just let that number sink in for a second. 50%. At the turn of the millennium, if you bought 2 solar panels anywhere in the world, one of them was made in Japan. They were the undisputed kings.
And now, today, that number has fallen off a cliff. It's less than 1%. This is one of the most dramatic collapses of industrial leadership in recent history. So how on earth did it happen so fast?
This chart right here tells the whole story without needing a single word. It's actually kind of shocking. Just look at the dark blue bars for Japan. They just fade away into almost nothing. And then look at the red bars for China. Wow, they don't just grow, they explode and completely devour the entire market.
So what happened? Well, it wasn't just one single mistake. It was a perfect storm. The industry in Japan was just too slow to build the giant gigawatt-scale factories you need to compete on price globally. They were also totally reliant on imported silicon, a huge vulnerability when prices shot up. And by outsourcing their manufacturing, they basically handed over their secrets to competitors. All of this was happening while the government's own policies were inconsistent, which just created a ton of uncertainty. But that whole cautionary tale is what makes today so interesting. Because now, a groundbreaking new technology, developed right in Japan, is offering a potential second chance, a chance to get back in the game and lead the future of energy. So let's take a look at what makes this stuff so special.
All right, meet the potential hero of our story, the perovskite solar cell. Now let's be clear, this is not just a slightly better version of an old silicon panel. No. This is a fundamentally different technology based on a really unique crystal structure that was discovered by Japanese researchers.
And this diagram right here, this is the secret sauce. This unique crystal structure is what gives these cells their superpowers. It's what allows them to be incredibly efficient at turning sunlight into electricity while also being unbelievably thin, light, and of course, flexible.
Let's put them side by side. Old versus new. Your traditional silicon panel is rigid and heavy, right? You can only really put it on strong roofs or in big solar farms. Perovskite, on the other hand, is flexible and light. You can put it on walls, windows, even curved surfaces. But maybe the biggest deal is the manufacturing. Look at this. Perovskite is made at a much lower temperature and in about a day, not several days. That means it could be way cheaper and easier to produce.
So why does this matter so much? Because it means you can generate solar power in places we never could before. Imagine the entire side of a skyscraper generating its own electricity, or windows that are also solar panels, or even the roof of your car helping to power it. It's about making power right where you use it, which is a total game changer.
Okay, and here is Japan's hidden ace. Remember how they got burned by having to import silicon? Well, one of the key ingredients for these new perovskite cells is iodine. And guess what? Japan happens to produce about 30% of the entire world's supply.
This is absolutely huge. It's a chance to learn from the past and not repeat it. By having the critical raw material right there at home, Japan can build a secure supply chain. It completely avoids the exact weakness that crippled its industry the first time around. It's a massive strategic advantage.
But inventing the technology is one thing. Winning the global market is a whole other ballgame. Japan is not alone here. The starting gun for the perovskite race has already fired, and it is an all-out global sprint.
And just take a look at the competition. It is fierce. China is already moving at lightning speed, building a 1-gigawatt factory with plans for 10 times that amount. You have companies in Europe that are breaking efficiency records. So, while Japan has some definite leaders in the tech, the pressure to scale up and to do it fast is enormous.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is a direct quote from the government report we're looking at. They're putting it in black and white. The competition is getting more intense by the day, and the window of opportunity is right now. It won't stay open forever.
So what is everyone fighting over? What's the prize at the end of this race? Well, the stakes are almost hard to believe. This isn't just about one industry. It's about who's going to lead the next great chapter in the global energy story. If they can get the cost down, the estimates for the potential global market are over 1 terawatt. We're talking about a market that could be worth trillions of dollars. Trillions! That's enough to completely reshape how the entire planet gets its power.
So it seems Japan has learned its lesson. The strategy this time isn't just about having the best tech. It's a full-court press. They know they have to build massive factories to drive down costs. But they're also focusing on selling a whole system, not just the panel, but the easy transport, the simple installation, and even the recycling at the end. It's about selling the whole package to win markets early and set the rules for the entire industry.
And that brings us right back to the ultimate question, doesn't it? Japan created this revolutionary technology, but it also famously lost its massive lead in the last solar race. This time, it has the homegrown tech, it has the raw materials, and it has a strategy built on learning from its past mistakes. But with global competition moving faster than ever, you have to ask, will this time really be different?